when she was I guess defending some book. They was putting in kids' school. I didn't. Yeah, that turned my stomach, man. She was defending it hard, like she written a book or something. And when I seen the graphic language that was in the book, and she was okay with it and being even as low as the middle school, let alone high school. I mean, of course, high school, they could probably somewhat handle some of the language in there, but man, I mean, they talk about elementary and middle school. There's no way that type of book should have been okay. And why was she defending it so hard? I don't know. Um, Another thing, Roland Martin has been saying to her, pushing for black media and doing her own thing, and she kind of snubbed him off, man. But now that she lost her job, now all of a sudden she's ready to link up with him. Oh man, he probably should have did it when he first came to you about 3 years ago. When the same thing happened to him when he lost his job. I mean, you didn't see him go on the cry tour or go do this boohoo moment. He didn't do that shit. You know what I'm saying? He accepted whatever it was and used that opportunity to do his own thing. I think she should do the same. If that's what she's trying to do and continue to get her message out there, and like you said, yeah, she has a big following. Well, why not? Why not use every social media platform you can to continue to push your message? And now, you don't have to worry about somebody trying to silence you. You don't have to worry about your overseer coming down on you. You can just say what you need to say, get it off. All platforms, there's a lot of platforms you could do that on. Is she willing to put that work in though? That's the thing. And does she have as many followers as she thinks she does? And will they migrate over to them platforms? That's another thing. But that's pretty much what I have.
They had to cut their comments off because the people that was going on there was cooking her about the shit I'm talking about. They've been dragging her on Twitter to the point that she deleted her Twitter account. And I think it had like 1 million or almost followers.
Yeah. You got anything on the Sherm?
Nah.
Okay. All right. So the African Americans that have these shows, they don't own these shows, of course, and the network makes the decision. So if you don't own it, you only have influence and leverage. If you don't own it, owners have the power, and when you own it, you decide who's on it, who's not. You decide how much they're getting paid. You decide what they do. And so that leads me to ask you guys: is it important to have Black voices in mainstream media? Is it important to have Black voices in mainstream media?
Absolutely, but
yeah, I don't think mainstream media is the thing no more. Nobody gives a shit about mainstream media no more. I mean, there was a time mainstream radio was the radio. Who even listens to the goddamn radio anymore? I don't think it's as big of a deal as it probably was maybe about 10, 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it really matters. I mean, you look, I agree with what Roland Martin was saying when I was watching his interview about her. She needs to just take that over to other platforms and make her name. Right now is the opportunity. Her name is hot. So she started her own, I think Trevi said, a YouTube channel. Imagine the following she would get, or at least the traffic for sure. I mean, there's a lot of platforms she can go on and spread her message. Don't worry about mainstream. Mainstream's a goddamn joke now.
Look at
it's a damn joke. Nobody even believes it.
Yeah, but you got to also understand too that some people, it's really hard for people to do things on their own. A lot of people don't know how to be consistent, so they like to be included in that structure because that structure is what keeps them in line. But when you're on your own, it's a different ball game. It's a different beast because now you responsible for every single thing. You don't answer to nobody. So you got to worry about every single detail when it comes out to that plan. And she's going to have to build up to it. I think they said she was getting like millions How much you was getting, Marcus?
I think it was 3 at one point, 3 million at one point.
So to think about how she has to restart and try to build back up to that, I'm not sure if it's going to happen as quickly as she thinks, or maybe she's a little bit timid at it. She's probably lost and confused and trying to figure. And it's probably going to be life changing.
No, I think she'll be fine.
But JR, 3 years ago, Roland Martin told her 3 years ago she could have hired a team when she was still making that money. She could have continued to do her thing on the show and funnel people to her platform. She could have did it then when Roland Martin gave her the idea, showed her the blueprint. She didn't want to do it, but maybe, like you said, she was used to that structure. She didn't want to have to do anything. Maybe she was really lazy. You know what I'm saying? Well, they got a team that I don't have to pay, but they paying for it them, so they're gonna get me what I need, and I'm not gonna worry about it. Ma'am, you in a job that any day now anybody can lose their job. It doesn't take much. You could say the wrong thing. You could agree with the wrong people. You could be on the wrong side of the fence, and you could lose your job. Or maybe you're not saying enough. Maybe your ratings start to go down, slip, and right then and there, they have a reason. It don't take much. So when your job is that volatile where you can lose at any moment, why not do something like that, like Roland Martin was pushing?
She'd be all right.
She'll be fine.
Because you got to look at Shannon Sharp, bro. You know what I'm saying? The same thing happened to him, and what did he do? You know what I'm saying? He pivoted. You got to learn to pivot. If you sitting here in this position, I don't know what everybody on here is, outside of this persona, how you make money, this, that, and the other. But I'm pretty sure you all think of a backup plan in the event that something changes. You know what I mean? How you're going to pivot to make sure that you and yours straight. Now, maybe that's a masculine thing. You know what I'm saying? Maybe she was comfortable, and who knows? I don't know. But all I'm saying is, look, we've seen others do it. Like Hank said, she was warned about this. You saw it happen to other people, and you don't think it can happen to you. Like, stop all that crying and just get to work. You know what I'm
saying? I do think she'll be. So when Don Lemon got fired and he went over to his platform, he averaged probably not that many live viewers. So I think that represented kind of the shift between what you said the mainstream media did and that. However, I think she actually do better than him because she's more entertaining. Whether I agree with her or not, she has more passion in the shit she's saying for who she riding for when she's speaking than Don Lemon. And I think she'll do better than him. I don't know how good, but I think they're restructuring it because there's a push right now to become more centrist Democrats, which is why they moving around the so-called black leadership that they have within their party and trying to move them closer to the middle, right? So anybody who would be as seen as an extension to the far left or to progressive Democrats or the progressives, they're getting pushed to the background because they believe that the reason Kamala lost is because they listen to the progressives. That's kind of the narrative they floating around. We listen to the young people, we listen to the progressives, and by doing so, we ran on things that
nobody gave a fuck about.
That nobody really came out for. The issue is they didn't do that thing. Like Stephen A. Smith was talking about how they selected the presidential candidate, right? They didn't allow a election process. They really was like, it's your turn, you run. It's your turn, you run with Biden and Hillary and all that. So with them being pushed to the extremes, I think it's going to move in a cycle. It's going to be another tragedy that occurs. And then it'll be back to, we need to get his voice a rise, and she'll be one of the pundits they call on, and she'll keep getting chances with each tragedy that occurs to come speak on that issue, and it might free her to really go all in and say all the shit she want to say. So, yeah.
I do have another question. Go ahead, Kenny.
We want to be more accurate with the details. The time it took for a runoff. Say Kamala wasn't the right one. They didn't have enough time. They had to make that work. And that was the perfect storm. Your man is drifting. The only person that we could publicize without doing a runoff is her. So I don't agree. It should have been done the proper way, but the time frame was too small. So they had to accept what they had. That's being honest about it. I gave the breadcrumbs. They got Rashida Jones, who was the president up there at Comcast, up out of there. And they put a white woman in that place so there would be no backlash as for how it was done. It trickled down because those people wanted to push what the institutional investors, the big money, is pushing forward. They want to keep their money. Trump is in office. He's doing stuff for big business. It trickles down. One of his main dissenters was her. And you notice he had a hit list when he came into office. He's petty. It went all the way down. A lot of people are either resigning or getting up out the way. And if you watch journalism and major media, those that spoke heavily about him are up out of there. And she was one of the biggest voices against him. I agree. Not everything she said was correct. I get you, Marcus. As for the bot thing, I'm not on the ship with that. You understand? And I wish she would apologize because she kept doubling down on it, and I can't see the connection. The other things, as for what she was pushing for, straight, not the gay agenda. That's why you see the two Fruity Boys is pushing so hard. Dom Lemon, he had enough Franks to eat. That's why his ratings ain't going nowhere. You know, I could say this straight and be childish. Go suck another one. You understand? But as for the sister, she earned hers without having to take it up the back. I digress there.